Hi, welcome to the Kachmann show today. It's about stopping, preventing diabetes. That's really a huge thing. And it's not that hard to do, which is the good news. You can look at my previous YouTube shows to learn more about it, and I have plenty of books here written by myself and other people. And the reason this diabetes thing is so important, there are about 50 odd diseases associated with diabetes, and they can all be avoided. Oh my God. But when I look around the country, when I look around this town, when I look around the world, there's so much diabetes out there that the governments, the hospital systems, the medical school systems have not wrapped the arm around it and try to get rid of it. It's not that hard, and I will teach that to you today. A very excellent book was written a number of years ago. This information about diabetes has been known for years. You kind of act like they act like we're just discovering this information. No, this was written by Joseph R. Kraft. This book used to be available on Amazon. It may still be, but I admit, the last time I was on there, I couldn't buy any, but I had some more copies at home. See if you can get one for yourself. You can read it. I wrote it one night, being a doctor and all. I think you could read it in 2 or 3 nights. Let me read the title to you. Diabetes Epidemic and New, which is true. Probably 70-90% of the people out there have diabetes and have the complications, the diseases related to that. Yes. Here's Kraft. Diabetes epidemic and you. Should you be tested? That would mean serum insulins, okay, or blood sugars. Absolutely not. Only those concerned about their future. It's the truth. You're concerned about your future, pay attention to the show, because the majority of people that they're operating on, the heart surgeries, the renal surgeries, suddenly grab their chest and die. These are all complications of diabetes that could have been avoided. I'll teach you how to do it. But let me tell you a little bit more about diseases that diabetes cause, then I talk about the tests a little bit, okay? Diabetes causes microvascular disease, so hearing loss. Hearing loss is a big thing. Most diseases of the ear are in diabetics. They'll want to sell you a hearing aid and do all sorts of things to your ears, maybe even operate on them, but to run some tests, what the root cause is, I doubt they'll even order it. That's how bad things are. Blindness, retinal disease. Most eye diseases are due to microvascular disease from diabetes. Many times it occurs long before the diagnosis is made because they're running the wrong tests. They're running blood sugars, which is not the right test to determine diabetes, long before it really blows up in your body. Serum insulins are the tests that you want to get. You wouldn't believe this. I went over 20 years ago now. I knew all this information then, yes. Then I went to 2 well-known retinal surgeons in town here, and I knew diabetes, and they're dealing disease of the retina, which are microvascular. Not all of it, but a lot of it is. And they were well-known guys. I know them personally, and nice people. But I could not interest them to put their arm around it to work with me on the cause of the diseases they were treating. Nothing ever happened. I don't get it. If I mention their names, you say these are wonderful people. Yes, they are wonderful people. But I told them that we could prevent most eye disease in the city by telling people how to avoid, prevent, reverse diabetes, but they were not interested. Mm-hmm. And the retinal people still are not leading the path. Yeah, and the trick is serum insulin, because when you have elevated serum insulin, you have insulin resistance, and the diseases from diabetes are already occurring in your body, but you're not aware of it. And your doctor should be pointing this out to you. The medical school should be teaching their students how to diagnose it early, and they're not doing their job. I say it openly. Okay? Thyroid disease, dementia. Most memory loss is due to insulin resistance in the brain. I went through the science of that last Thursday on the Access TV show. It'll be on YouTube probably within 10 days or so. That Peter Whitehouse from the Cleveland Clinic published a book called The Myth of Alzheimer's Disease. Yes. Many years ago, I read it. It sort of welded my blood pressure to the point I wrote A Fraud of Alzheimer's Disease, a book right after that, reviewing the science. He was at the Cleveland Clinic, saw thousands of patients, and he realized that memory loss can be largely prevented. It goes in stages over many years, and through proper nutrition, exercise, stress reduction, treatment, learning about linked systems and memory, you don't need to the end stage. Dr. Whitehouse even wondered if there is such a thing as Alzheimer's disease. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There are genes that you're more likely to get it if you get both genes, for example. But if you follow a program of 20 things you can do to prevent progression, you don't ever get it. That he kind of wondered if Alzheimer's disease is really non-existent. I viewed that in detail to the point I wrote a book about it. So be open-minded, at least improve your memory, stop getting worse. It can be done. Look at my last show or read some of my books. Most dental disease is due to bacteria and sugar. Diabetics get much more dental disease. These bacteria love sugar. So we need to teach children how to brush their teeth 2 or 3 times a day, starting at a very young age, maybe even floss. They won't get dental disease. And a lot of other diseases associated with dental disease, heart disease, memory loss associated with dental disease. Yes. Liver disease. Kidney disease is 80% related to diabetes. Can be prevented the majority of the time. Kidney disease has 5 stages associated, 1 through 5. The first 3 stages, people don't have any symptoms. You know what's happening in the community? They don't test for it. Because it's called GFR, glomerular filtration rate. If you were to test for it, you could then teach people how to prevent progression of the kidney disease. Kidney disease is not like some other diseases which you can reverse them in part. Kidney disease is very difficult to reverse, so to diagnose it early with a GFR test, critical. I've never met a person that said, "What's your GFR?" and they knew the answer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I even did it, writing a book on it, Prevention is a Cure, Kidney Disease. It'll be out in about a month. Multiple cancers are related to diabetes because cancer is a sugar feeder. Cancer loves to eat sugar. Otto Warburg proved, he was in 1938 or so, died in 1970, that cancer uses 13 molecules of ATP to make sugar to make 1 molecule of ATP. Okay, so sugar, cancer is a sugar feeder. So you want to avoid cancer, keep a normal weight, eat a proper diet. Cancer rates go down. Most amputations, dislocations, renal transplants, liver transplants, all related to diabetes. I could go on and on. And heart attacks, strokes, grab my chest and die. 50% of the people, no warning, just grab their chest and it's goodbye. Happened to a friend of mine recently, younger than me, incidentally, and not a known diabetic, but I do wonder. You never know. I don't know what his blood tests were, but vascular disease is like that. And that's the reason I want you to avoid these things, especially. I attended a church service because I knew the person that died, and they had 4 people there who had diabetes and they had their legs amputated. That's the 3rd death I went to, another one probably coming, and they will not listen. They're closed-minded. Oh, Dr. Kachmann, I respect diabetes. I'll take my medicine. You don't have to take the medicine by getting rid of your diabetes. You don't need it. You save lots of money. So you see where I'm heading here. Suppose you're way overweight, okay, which a lot of diabetics are. Don't throw in the towel, because I have a great book for you, Beyond Simply Keto, by Susan Ryan. She used to weigh 100 pounds more than she weighs now, and this book is great because the first 30 pages, she explains it for you, explains ketones. And let me explain to you ketones. They're like sugar molecules, okay? Your heart, your brain loves to run on ketones. Your muscles like to run on ketones. If you're not eating a bunch of sugary foods, your insulin level goes down because you don't need it, okay? So the sugar level drops, the insulin level drops, and then gets down to the fat cell. The fat cells open up, releases fat. It goes to the bloodstream. It goes to the liver. The liver converts it to little fatty acids called ketones, the smaller molecules in sugar. Your brain loves to run on them. Your heart loves to run on them. Your muscles like to run on them. Very, very effective. You're not a diabetic anymore because the fat cells are emptying themselves. So ketones are small energy molecules, okay? And so if you overweight a bit, get her book, because she makes it easy. She has pictures of the meals, everything. Now, I generally recommend 2 meals a day. She says 3. Well, whatever suits you, 2 meals makes it easier, because in my book here, I have a chapter there on Rudy's ketone 16-8. 16 hours I don't eat, because you go breakfast anyway, so it's natural. Eat around noon. I'm not hungry at all, because my body's secreting through circadian rhythm steroids, growth hormone, glucagon, and my blood sugar's like this. I'm not hungry. I go pick a ball, and then they exercise. I come home and I eat 1 meal and dinner, and my weight's on 35 pounds. And it's easy to do, 135 pounds. You want to see my blood work? Here it is. I'd have you look at it if you want. Okay, blood sugar 89, HSCRP 0.7, HbA1c 5.4. These are, and that's at age 39 for the 47th time. What I'm saying is, you don't accept diabetes. In this town, in this state, in this nation, in this world, we accept diabetes and its complications. What causes it? Too many sugary products, processed food. So I am suggesting, what do I suggest? About 50-70% foods made from good fats, and there's lists of them in her book, for example, guacamole, things of that nature. 20% protein, and the rest fruits and vegetables. I tell you, fruit is a condiment. Fruit is candy. People think, you see some famous books, and friends of mine that even wrote them, and 80% vegetarian diet. You'll be better, you'll be healthier. but nowhere near as good or as fast if you follow the Rudy's ketone 16-8 or these 2 meals a day that really speeds it up. And Susan, she has 3 meals a day, but of the right food. If you eat too much protein, people eat steak 7 days a week. The body needs a certain amount of amino acids. That's the breakdown product of proteins. If you eat too much of that, the body does with it, converts it to sugar. That's not what you want, okay? So a lot of these muscle builders who think this is big muscles, you know what odds are, especially a little bit older, they're doing this. That's fat. It ain't muscle. Yes. They just don't understand the metabolism of protein. I didn't say don't eat any meat. I said just limit it and make sure it has a good fat on it. I'm not too hard on steaks, for example, because most of it is farm bred. And these factory farms, if you ever read about factory farms, you wouldn't want to eat it. What they put in this trough, they feed them in is corn and sugary products and things that you don't want to eat, and the cruelty to their animals. They literally slaughter them alive. And I'm not for that, okay? But, I do eat some turkey in there and some bacon, and that's fine. Remember I said, good fats, find out where it came from, try to make it fresh as possible. Maybe stay away from milk products, because you read a book by Joe Keon called Whitewash, you won't drink cow's milk again. Too many hormones, too many pesticides. And you're going to have your kid drink this milk full of growth hormone. When a calf is born, the first thing they do within hours, they inject it with a growth hormone. Mm-hmm. The cow really grows, produces milk 10 times its normal rate because of the hormone, and then you give it to your kid and he drinks it. You want to give growth hormone to your kid. You want to give herbicides and pesticides, which they spray down to the cow, and they keep it in a cage. I don't think so. And so another great book, I think, Goodbye Pills and Needles by Tom Jelinek. Very thorough, very simple to read. Very simple. It's almost like a Bible. And he explains the medications, the dangers of them, and what we find now, you hear about insulin all the time, but insulin has many other things associated with it. Growth factors, increased rates of cancer, stiffens the arteries, and it stuffs sugar into the cell, but now the cell's got the sugar. The problem is not over. When you look at the injection site for insulin, you notice that it swells. Insulin causes obesity. Obesity is a result of diabetes. It's not the cause of diabetes, it's a result of diabetes. So insulin is not the friend that you think it is. So much you learn and read about it a little bit, and if you follow proper nutrition, you don't need insulin. Now metformin, what is it? It's a pill we hand everybody. And it tells the membrane in the cell that I'm hungry. It pulls sugar in, turns off sugar production in the liver, gluconeogenesis. So if your blood sugar happened to drop, that won't help you. Insulin suddenly can really do that, rapidly push sugar into the cell, and your blood sugar drops. So if you're on these medications, talk to your doctor, let them know you're doing it a healthier way. And a good way to deal with that really is also to get a Dexcom 7, one of those meters, where you can eat in an hour or two whenever you don't feel right, go like this, and then you know what your blood sugar is. Plus to keep track of it on a graph. I think if you got type 2 diabetes and you're on insulin, I'd get one of these lifestyle or Dexcom 6. Dexcom 6, I think, keeps track better. It's just my own thing. I know somebody uses the lifestyle. I think that's fine. You can get them with a prescription. I think they have a free trial. I highly recommend that, just in case you drop your blood sugars too much, that you can check it and see and talk to your doctor about it. But Tom Jelinek in his book really describes ideas. So you want to gather some information on how to prevent, stop, reverse diabetes. Don't accept the disease. I know someone said to me recently whose family's had a lot of amputations. I went to the funeral. He says, Rudy, I respect diabetes, and he takes the pills. Well, he's always going to have diabetes. He may live a little bit longer, but people who follow proper nutrition probably live to be 100, have no disease. Yeah, it's that simple. It's not difficult. The industry, the hospital industry, the medical school now, I noticed they moved onto the hospital campus here recently. They don't allow me to speak there about diabetes prevention to the medical students. They don't teach it to them. We can only teach what national teaches. How ridiculous. This thing causes 50 diseases. You can get rid of it like that. 6 weeks, 4 weeks. More common things, 3 weeks. So gather information, read about things, and I want you to make a plan. I don't accept diabetes. Doctor, tell me how to get rid of it. And you know, most of the doctors don't even know how to do it. And so gather some information. Look at my YouTube shows. Read these books that I held up for you. Jason Fung, I didn't hold up for you, but he's a lot of YouTube shows available too. Diabetes Code. And he was a renal doctor, but I noticed every patient he saw with kidney disease was a diabetic. So he decided to be a diabetic doctor. Now he's world internationally famous. And to look at his YouTube shows and read some of his books, I highly recommend. I personally think that we as patients, look at this book. I mean, I'm getting a little brutal about it. Prevention is the cure. Okay. Dr. Rudy's War on Diabetes and the industries that created it. This is my last reread before it goes to Amazon. Mm-hmm. I'm writing one on heart disease, one on renal disease, and one on cancer. And I'm going to keep right on going. And dementia is another one I'm writing. Industry helped create these diseases. Mm-hmm. They're making money. Sugar industry. House and Senate lobbyists getting a lot of money. Poor nutrition teaching. In the school system, the schools are not teaching proper nutrition. They're serving the kids milk. When I can show you the books, they show you the milk is not healthy for you, cow's milk. The hospital says when you go in there, have a heart attack, but they don't teach you how to get rid of diabetes. They have a diabetic department, but they don't really teach you how to get rid of it. I know because I know somebody went there recently. The medical school, lack of nutrition teaching, lack of preventive treatments. Medical schools, you're responsible. A school lunch program, kids are going in there and eating the foods that make you sick instead of they're selling sugary drinks, some of them. Yeah, you can go out there, put in some money, and you get a sugary drink, okay? So industry, as you surround it, you must wake up and participate and read these books, look at the TV shows, and you can prevent. This is the big one. Diabetes even causes most of the dementia. They talk about Alzheimer's disease. Dr. Peter Whitehouse at Cleveland Clinic and myself, I'm not sure the disease even exists. It very slowly progresses over time. If you don't do some things that we recommend in our talks, from working on your memory, linking it to things, to reading regularly, to eating the right food, to exercise, develop some memory systems. You can avoid the end stage because Alzheimer's disease, the end stage, is a miserable condition. It's not that you grab your heart attack and you're dead. Okay, you're not suffering. Okay, but Alzheimer's disease, people suffer for a year or two. Mm-hmm. And the family suffers around them. That's avoidable the majority of the time. Dr. Peter Whitehouse, who saw dementia patients for probably 30 years, felt he wonders even that they exist because the brain develops insulin resistance. Yes, the IDE enzyme is supposed to degrade the tremendous amount of insulin being used in the brain because you get diabetes, diabetes is used up, and the IDE enzyme is also used to degrade amyloid and neurofibrillary tangles, and it's not available for that. So they think 60% of dementia is related to diabetes, at least 60%. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to know about your health and participate, and not just to grab the script to the ill and just take it without knowing why you're taking it, what the side effects are, for example. And there was a beautiful article actually in the Sunday Journal Gazette, the living section, where a lady who had donated her kidney to her sister, and she had been given a drug which probably destroyed the kidney, the way the article was, and they mentioned to the doctor, and he said, oh, that's okay, but he didn't check the GFR. First of all, I wonder what was the drug she was given, a prescription drug. My question would be, was that a statin drug? I should like to know, because statins can affect the kidney. At least they could have checked their GFR, stopped the drug. But could she have had diabetes too? Maybe. You know, very interesting article. Living section, Sunday Journal Gazette. So always know what your drugs do for you, what the side effects are, that you be aware of what they are, so that you can stop them or maybe go do something else. So you must participate in your health care. So in summary, thanks for watching this show. Let's prevent, stop, reverse diabetes. Number one is get a serum insulin test even as a teenager and your kids, and put it in a book, a way of keeping track. In France, they have what's called card vitale. They have a credit card. All the health information of a lifetime is on this card. Isn't that a wonderful system? We need to have that in the United States. So I call it prevention is the cure, the PITC card. So you can, if all information went onto one lab site on your phone, for example, of a lifetime, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? So I want you to work on this. I do a half-hour show on this every 2 weeks. Look at our other YouTube shows, Rudy Kachmann, Mind, Body, and Spirit.com. 500 shows show up that you will get a lot of health information. And thanks for watching. I do this because I care about you. See you next time. Namaste.